Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. This is my review of A Bloody Aria, a Korean dramatic thriller from 2006. Now I saw this movie a long time ago, and I remember enjoying it. But I also remember having discussions with some people on the internet, back in the message board days, and there were a good number of people who really enjoyed this one. So it's been on my to-watch list for quite a while. And I was recently perusing Amazon Instant, and I noticed that it's available for streaming, so I decided to watch it again, thought it might be a good idea to review it. An aspiring young singer travels to the countryside with her college professor. She wants to learn more about the outcome of her audition for a part in an upcoming opera performance. The two park on a deserted riverbank to make a campfire, but instead of talking about the audition, the teacher attempts to force himself on her, but she escapes into the forest. They separate for a while, but they both run into some shady townspeople in a desolate woodland area. There's this guy who looks like he's homeless and he's hunting for animals. There are two young punks who are attempting to bury someone alive. And then there's a cop, played by Suk-kyu Han, who seems to have a mean streak about him. So all these people kind of come together here in this desolate area. Now, this premise is set up actually very early on in the film, almost immediately, and it's propelled by kind of a constant aura of uneasiness that stems from the enigmatic nature of the bad guys, or the antagonists, and the fact that the two protagonists are alone and vulnerable in unfamiliar territory while they interact with these people. So that aspect is really the main draw of A Bloody Aria. Just the idea of being out in the middle of nowhere and having to interact with a group of people who are not allowing you to leave. You know what I mean? It's enough to cause some anxiety in that situation. And there is some good suspense in this film. Even near the very beginning, like the teacher is sitting in his car after the girl leaves, and he pretends not to be there because his windows are tinted, and you got the two punks are outside, and they could pose a threat to him. So he just wants them to just go away so he could just leave without any type of confrontation. There are a lot of scenes like that in this. Even when the characters are face to face, the protagonists may not be in immediate danger, but they're not being allowed to leave the area. So as a viewer, you're wondering, like, how bad is this going to get? Like, what do these townspeople have planned for these people? You know what I'm saying? Another really interesting thing I liked about this is there's a sense of, like, psychological intimidation, almost like bullying to a certain extent, between the characters. And that creates uncertainty regarding who is going to assert themselves. And at times, you can even see the intimidation factor shift in the same scene to different characters. You might have someone who kind of looks like a tough guy, but something eventually happens, and it makes you suspect that he's kind of an all bark, no bite type of guy. Like, how tough is this guy? You know what I'm saying? And that happens multiple times in the movie, and I enjoyed that. It kind of turns it on its head a little bit. And the filmmakers were quite patient in allowing this situation to develop slowly. But there's always something kind of interesting happening on screen. Definitely some themes beneath the surface here, and this is especially true regarding some character reveals near the end of the film. There is a bit of violence, but nothing too graphic here. So even if you're squeamish, you should be able to sit through this one fine, despite the fact that this does have an edge to it, but the edge is mostly like psychological and thematic. The music is appropriate for the story for the most part, but there were a few scenes, especially near the beginning, where I felt like the music was a little bit too lighthearted given what was going on. So it may have been intentional on the part of the filmmakers, but I would have preferred a more consistent score. And with any thriller, you could probably point out a few character logic problems along the way. It's just kind of a thing with this type of genre. But there's nothing here that I thought was distracting or badly written enough to be a problem, in my opinion. Much of the film takes place at a deserted riverbank, which has like a big hill next to it and a forest around it. It's a good location to film if you want to film with limited locales and a limited budget, right? So that was good. It was a good environment. Suk-kyu Han is the most recognizable actor here. He was in Shiri, Christmas in August, and The Royal Tailor, along with a bunch of stuff. But there are some other faces you may recognize. Yi Ryun-cha was in Whispering Corridors 4, Voice, and also in Muoi. So fans of Korean horror films may recognize her. And then Seo Soo-oh has been in a bunch of stuff over the years, mostly as a supporting actor, so you may recognize him as well. So overall, I think that A Bloody Aria is a good dramatic thriller. You know, it's a bit slow-paced, but if you like movies about people who attempt to intimidate and control other people, you might want to check this one out. It's available on Amazon Instant in the United States, and as always, I'll see you next time.